like that. Woo!
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe to all of our YouTube videos, as well as if you like to go to our Cash App. You can do so in the ticker where it says $ BJ Matthews. Again, $ BJ Matthews. I'll put the pinned comment right after this video is completed, or you can go onto our YouTube page in the live chat where you guys see it right now, and y'all can click that button on the bottom right diagonal corner. You can donate that way as well. But appreciate y'all for all the love and support. Let's get this going. Man, oh man, trouble in Tinseltown, trouble in Lakerland right now. The LA Lakers right now are in a abysmal right now in this position. They are 0-4 in the season. They have lost all four meetings this year so far, and they have a fifth meeting tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who, to me, I think are going to win that game. I think they're going to be in Minnesota. So this is going to be something where, it can get pretty bad. It's already bad as it is, but it can get very bad. And yeah, and they're trying to find answers with the problem with the Lakers. So I was thinking about this for a day or so, and let me just remind you, I'm not a Laker fan by any means. Y'all already know that on my channel. Y'all know who I rock with. I rock with the Clippers. Kobe Bryant, yes, is my favorite player of all time. But as far as this specific team, I stopped being a supporter of the Lakers back when Kobe retired. So this team is not who I envisioned watching when I was brought up. This is not Laker basketball, but nonetheless, I am a person who is a podcaster, a person who tries to bring the news to y'all around the league because that's just what I do. And I always appreciate y'all support and input. And I want y'all to continue to hit the like button, get the people in here. Um, Shout out to Joseph, the Pels fan, Thunder not accepting that. Appreciate you coming in, brother. My man Dallas Sports, that's my man Bubba. He said Shai not ready for the prime time yet. Muhammad Warsome, he's laughing. LOL, Lord High. Appreciate you coming in. How you doing, Miss Davis? Nice to see you again. Hit that like button. I appreciate y'all coming in. But there is trouble going on in Lakerland right now, man. And there's been a lot of different reports that's been going out. And to me, it's like it's amazing how the media is so behind with stuff that isn't right in front of their faces. A lot of the people on YouTube are starting to catch on to things faster than what the media is catching on. Guys like Ticket, guys like Too Raw, guys like Showtime, guys like, me, even to it, what I'm saying, everybody, a lot of people on these YouTube channels who actually follow the game, who actually play the game, actually know the game, who actually have the platform to talk about the game, they're catching on to things quicker than what the media is catching on to things. You understand what I'm saying? And that just goes with paying attention to detail, not running away with no BS narrative, which I feel like a lot of the mainstream medium does for quite a bit. And that's why I really, don't respect the media as much as, certain people may do it. But this is why we're here. The Lakers, man, are in a position where they're having to make a decision whether to rebuild this team or to try and keep this thing going as far as possible. And from this morning, I was watching First Take with Jay Williams and Stephen A. Smith, and they've gotten to a position now where they're starting to look to even not. They went from saying Russell Westbrook was the problem. That was the initial thing. Russell Westbrook was the problem. He couldn't play. He doesn't fit with this team. He can't shoot. All these things that Russell Westbrook we've known he's been. It's just that he's been a spectacular athlete. He has not played in such a larger market, and he never played with LeBron James, is why those things have somewhat been hidden, right? We know Russell Westbrook has always been a guy who's not a great shooter. We've always known Russell Westbrook has been a type to make turnovers. We all know Russell Westbrook has made mistakes in the past, but that never stopped him from being an all-star. That never stopped him from being, a guy that was traded to the Lakers for three other key players, three of their core guys who helped them win them a championship, mine's Montrezl Harrell. That didn't stop the Lakers from trading for Russell Westbrook when that was echoed with him throughout his entire career. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what the Lakers signed up for when they got Westbrook. So they said that Westbrook was the problem. Well, if you go back just a couple nights ago, they got beat by the Denver Nuggets and Westbrook did not play 99 to 110. LeBron James was terrible. He had 19 points and with 8 turnovers. Anthony Davis was a nothing to be squad. He had 22 points as well. He ended up being hurt yet again. This time it was his back. He had back spasms. He's actually questionable for the night. So they have an array of problems with this team, and now they cannot just use Russell Westbrook as the scapegoat anymore. So now they're looking at, okay, what's the next thing? Now they're talking about Anthony Davis needs to be moved. Okay? Now they're talking about Anthony Davis needs to be moved off the team. Now, I said this like a few days ago. If y'all go back into my videos, I said they need to look to move Anthony Davis. Remember I said that? When I said if they're going to try to build this team around LeBron James, even though he's like 100 years old, if that's what you feel, if you think LeBron is still a top 10 player, in your opinion, then I would move LeBron James off. I would move Anthony Davis off this team and build around LeBron the next couple of years, even though I disagree with it. I would say move Anthony Davis. Remember, I said this. I put this in a video. Go back and look at my video. I said this. I said AD needs to be traded because if you want the Lakers to be somewhat a little bit respectful, right? If you want to be somewhat a little bit respectful, you have to find a way to get a piece for him. Everybody's making fun of Anthony Davis for being hurt all the time. I get it. I understand the jokes. It's funny, you know what I'm saying, to an extent, because I don't like injuries, but it is true. Anthony Davis has been the type to been injured, not just with the Lakers, but his entire career, which is really weird to me why people are acting so surprised. Anthony Davis has had a history of injuries. He's had over 50 injuries, I believe, in his entire NBA career. This has been going on since New Orleans, but that never stopped much of the NBA world from always raving about Anthony Davis. You never heard about him being a bust or somebody who was being glass. Like they always talked about Anthony Davis's PER rating. They talked about how he's able to fill up the stat sheet. They had one point with Anthony Davis before he came to the Lakers, he was going to be a top 5 player. And he was still dealing with all these injuries. So the injuries never left, but the people always spoke highly about Anthony Davis. Where am I getting at? My thing is that Anthony Davis does not have a ability problem. He has the skills and abilities. That's not the problem. His problem is his durability. And I feel like that can be worked on through your training regimen and your training habits. What's funny is a lot of these players, man, who are bigger, faster, stronger, all that stuff, tend to get hurt more, even though there's more technology out there than what the older players in the 80s and 90s who lift weights, who were staying in shape in the offseason, things of that nature, took care of their bodies. They did not go through these amount of injuries these younger guys went through, right? Y'all keep hitting that like button. So you have to ask yourself a serious question. Why are these players getting hurt more when there's more technology out here? Anybody ever asked yourself that question? Why are these players getting hurt more? The Anthony Davises, the Lonzo Balls, the Kawhi Leonards, the Zion Williamses, all these players are getting hurt, right? When there's more technology out there. These players should not be getting hurt when there's more resources. And what Anthony Davis is not dealing with things that are degenerative. He's dealing with like knick-knack injuries and taking a long time to come back from. Ladies and gentlemen, that's geared to his training regimen. This dude is not taking care of himself in the offseason. He's not playing basketball. He's not staying active. Being injury prone, all that means is that you're actually more prone to injury because you sit around and don't actually put in any real time on your body. When you sit around and don't do any work, you become more injury prone. This is not a genetic thing. This is something that you can actually work on. So again, this what brings me to this point. Going back to the Lakers. I feel Anthony Davis still has value. That reason why I believe they need to make a move to get him out of LA if they want to save their franchise, because Westbrook, his value has went down. LeBron's getting older. He's going to be out in a couple years. AD's the only one with the most value, in my opinion. So with that being said, you got to go for a piece that's going to somewhat save your franchise or somewhat bring some type of new thing to your franchise. And people are talking about what moves they need to make, what changes they need to make. Um, I looked around the NBA, I looked around the league, what moves I think that the Lakers should be able to do. And everybody's saying they need shooters, they need this, that, and the other guys. Again, LeBron, yes, he has had shooters with his championship teams, but what he also has had as he has had players who are killers, right? He's had players on those championship teams with the Heat and the whatchamacallit and the Cavs. He had Kyrie Irving, a killer. He had Dwayne Wade with the Heat, killer. He had Anthony Davis in the bubble, was a killer. LeBron James needs a person who's going to take that burden off of him, to take those shots, to be fearless, be an offensive weapon, who's going to average somewhere between 22 to about 27 points a game. That's where this kid right here, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, comes in. Now, I already know how people are talking in the comments saying, why would they do that? This, that, and the other. Why would they do that? I'm going to get to that point in a minute. But SGA is a person, man, to me, I have a lot of faith, and I think he's a guy who's very, very prone to being a big market, prone to be somebody that will excel in LA, right? And a guy who is in OKC, where a team that is not very well known because they're a bad team, that he's somewhat under the radar, which would actually kind of help the Lakers out. Because here's the thing, people talking about Anthony Davis's value is bad. Value can be built. It's just like credit. Value can be built back up. Y'all remember Paul George in the bubble? His value was very low. People called him Pandemic P. People called him he couldn't play. He comes back the next season and balls out. Now Paul George is a top 10 player. So it doesn't take much long for you to build your value up. Everybody that's saying Anthony Davis is done, he's glass, he can easily turn that around if he fixes the problem, which is his durability. Y'all understand? I hope y'all still following me. So Anthony Davis is 29 years old. He's still in his prime. He can fix the problem. He has to just change his training regimen, and he has to be able to, work on the things in his joints that are weak. He just comes off as a person to me, just gets in the summer in the gym and just works on shooting. And he doesn't actually work on his body mechanics, his durability. He doesn't work on none of that stuff. Very skilled, very talented, but does not work on his body. But let me get to this point. I don't think this is as crazy a trade people making him out to be. For the people saying that this is a trade that Oklahoma City will not make, I got to ask y'all a question. Where do y'all think Oklahoma City is going to be in the next 5 seasons? What do y'all think Oklahoma City is going to do in the next 5 years? Do y'all see Oklahoma City being a championship team? Do y'all see Oklahoma City taking a jump up? Because what I see with Oklahoma City, man, is a bunch of talented young players who are pretty much around college level. They're like college. It's like watching a college team. All those guys, none of them have any championship DNA. None of those guys have any real championship pedigree. It's good to be young. It's good to be a young team in an old league. That's a good thing. But this league is not a young league. It's not an old league. It's a young league. Meaning that if you're depending on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to be your number one option to lead you to a championship, when you gotta go up against teams like the Memphis Grizzlies, who have Ja Morant, Luka Doncic in Dallas, Zion Williams in New Orleans, Devin Booker still in Phoenix. Who else in the Western Conference? Minnesota has Anthony Edwards, bro. Like, all these teams have guys, their main guys are better than SGA, and they have a better team. So this is what the Thunder are going to have to deal with over the next 5 to 10 seasons, because those guys are still in their early 20s, mid-20s. They're not going anywhere. So if your goal is just to be just make it to the playoffs, then I believe OKC has a chance. But if you're asking if OKC over the next 5 seasons is going to make it to the playoffs and be a championship contender, you're going to have to deal with a hell of a lot of competition out west. You're going to have to deal with a hell of a lot competition out west. I said that too. High schoolers, no disrespect. Yeah, it's like Miss Davis, they're pretty much a high school team. And I tried to explain this to one of my coaches who's from Oklahoma City, Bro, ain't nobody knocking down the door to go to OKC. No one's knocking down the door to come there. So unless you're able to get these guys developed to a point where they're exceeding their expectations, like Josh Giddey, like Luke Dort, like Chet Holmgren, like that other big guy, Williams. All these guys are, man, these are like, it's like watching a college team. So I don't know what OKC's plan is. That's why I keep hearing people saying they're going to rebuild. They still need some veteran leadership to get them over the hump. They cannot win with just young college guys or guys who are, just guys just coming into the league one after another. At some point, you're gonna have to you have to bring in a guy who's going to be a piece. And if you just stick back to what you're doing, bring these young, you're gonna be like another Orlando Magic. Orlando, hella young team, hella young, but they in the lottery every year. And that's what OKC has been since they lost Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook and KD couldn't get the Oklahoma City Thunder a championship. So if you're right on SGA to do that, I mean, that's a long stretch. Now, with that being said, go back to the trade. I already said it. AD is not a person who's washed. He needs to really reamp his training regimen. That's what he needs to do. It's nothing with his game. That can be worked on. So I know it's a risky thing because it's still fresh and his value is low right now, but I'm just looking at how it can look within the next, year or so. If you put him with that OKC team, AD I'm talking about, that's a fresh start right there he can probably use. And if you bring an AD who's healthy, you telling me you're not taking him over a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? You're not taking him over SGA? I think you would. Who plays both ways. Anthony Davis healthy is a two-way player who can give you over 25 points and 14 rebounds. But I know the proud people are going to say, well, he's never healthy, so what's the point? Again, that can be worked on like by his offseason regimen and training. Obviously, the man does not do the right things. But then what's really funny is that this guy said the same thing about Anthony Davis. Everybody wants to – that's why I'm going back to these media pundits. Everybody's starting to panic now about AD being hurt all the time when you've had people in YouTube like me and other people who don't get on the main screen who said this. Charles Barkley said this last year that AD needs to be the main culprit, but yet people kept bringing Russell Westbrook, kept blaming this, that, and the other, which is why they were losing. Now everybody's talking about trade the entire roster and rebuild, what brings me to LeBron James. Look, LeBron James had a cryptic tweet last night, or was it last night or yesterday, where he basically said he's been unappreciated and, how long are they going to disrespect the kid? How long are they going to disrespect? I'll let y'all see it. Let me pull it up. If y'all can see the caption, it says, how long will you be taken for granted? Keep going, kid. Now, that's obviously a shot at the front office. That's obviously a shot at the front office right there. People trying to speculate who it's about, man, that's a shot at the front office. It's no secret that the Lakers and LeBron James seem to be on different ends of the spectrum when it comes to what they think about the Lakers roster. You know what I'm saying? 1 second. They seem to be on different ends of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? So again, LeBron to me is frustrated where he feel like he can't do nothing with this roster. But the problem with LeBron is that he don't want to take accountability. Dude, you had 8 turnovers the night before, bro, against the Denver Nuggets, who really have been struggling themselves. But this is what happens when LeBron's teams fail apart. He starts looking at everybody else but him. And that's when the media has finally woken up and said, oh, well, maybe he is part of the problem. Well, a lot of us been telling people that all the time, that LeBron James, he has flaws, but when we get called haters for telling the truth. Now he's starting to call out his organization, the same organization that brought him Anthony Davis to help him win a championship in 2020, the same organization that brought in Russell Westbrook to help him. The move that he wanted to trade away his three pieces. They've done everything possible to try to make LeBron as comfortable as he can. That's what they've done. That's the truth. So it's the reason why they can't move anybody else or make any big moves because they've already kowtowed to LeBron's um, demands. You traded away, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and who's they traded away a third, Lonzo Ball, to get and picks to get AD in 2020 to get you a championship. Cool. You're not going to be able to sustain success full term if you trade away big pieces like that. Realistically, you trade away KCP, Alex Caruso, and Kyle Kuzma to get Russell Westbrook. That was your decision, LeBron. That was AD's decision. That's what y'all wanted to do because y'all got, blitzed by the Phoenix Suns. When in reality, y'all should have kept that same team and ran it back, and y'all would have probably been in a better spot than you guys are in now, where y'all can actually make moves. You understand what I'm saying? But everybody wants to blame Rob Pelinka for this roster, man. Rob Pelinka is working what he can work with. Now, will say this. I think he does have some resentment towards LeBron for feeling like he kind of messed up the roster, and now he's leaving them in a position where it's kind of tough to do anything. I think he does feel that type of way. I'm not gonna lie to you, he is human. But everybody's yelling at Rob Pelinka saying he needs to do something, bro. What can he do? Right? Except trade those two picks. Now, if they trade these two picks for Buddy Hield, I hope y'all still with me. Keep hitting that like button. If they trade those two picks for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, bro, what does that really do? How does that move the needle at all? That doesn't put you as a championship team, that doesn't put you as a contender. Because what we're seeing is AD is not being healthy, and we see LeBron James, who's obviously getting older, who's actually old as it is. His play has declined. His play is not producing wins. But LeBron has never been in a position where he has had to build anything. He's jumped from, and this ain't a shot at him, he's jumped from team to team. He went from Cleveland to Miami for 4 years left after he felt like that situation was falling. Then he goes from Miami back to Cleveland. He stays there for 4 years, and then he leaves after that situation is falling. Now he's going to the Lakers, same thing. After this is his fourth year. Now he's looking to, so he's every team he goes to, he's for 4 years like college, and then he leaves, or he's flirting with the idea to leave because he's never had to build anything. Now the media is saying they should trade LeBron James now. The only problem with that is LeBron doesn't get traded. He leaves on his own terms. Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka will have to do something that has never been done before and trade away LeBron. I think it would be bigger than what basketball is to trade LeBron James. I don't think that's going to happen. But I want to say also this before I let people in. Rick Bucher actually came on the Odd Couple last night, and I listened to this segment. He was on the Odd Couple with Rob Parker and Chris Broussard. He actually said that he feels like the Lakers are purposely keeping Russell Westbrook there as a scapegoat. Let me say that again. Rick Bucher believes that the Lakers are purposely keeping Russell Westbrook on the team as a scapegoat. Right? That's what he personally believes. They're not letting off those two picks, and he feels like they're doing it on purpose to keep Russell Westbrook as a scapegoat. Here's the problem with that. Russell Westbrook already showed you that he's not the problem. Now, of course, you're going to have some emotional Laker fans who are going to continuously blame Westbrook no matter what. But if you just logically say and think about it and actually open your eyes, you'll notice that they have major problems other than Westbrook. They have no outside shooting. LeBron James is up in age. He's not getting his teammates involved in positions where they're comfortable. They have roles on that team that guys are not comfortable at. AD can't stay healthy. They're working with things that are it's just like they're doing stuff that's not really able to put them in a good position, right? So he was on the Odd Couple show last night, and he said he feels like Russell Westbrook is getting the blame on purpose. Now, I've interviewed Rick Bucher on my show before. Rick Bucher knows his stuff when it comes to hoops. He's very, very knowledgeable of the game. He has very good takes. Um, and when he speaks about basketball, he's one of the few minds I actually respect. And he was also on my man Rob Parker's show. Like, me and Rob Parker was actually pretty tight. Rob Parker is that's my mentor. That's one of my mentors. So, I mean, when it comes to hoops, or if he has people on his show, I tend to listen. I don't really respect too many people in the media because I feel like their main goal is to put out a BS narrative on somebody. But when it comes to Rob and when it comes to guys like Rick Bucher, I tend to respect their opinion. But that's kind of what it is, man. I want y'all to come in and say what y'all gotta say about this, but I feel like they need to go ahead and do these couple things. They need to waive Russell Westbrook, man. They need to get Russell Westbrook out of there for his sake and the Lakers' sake. It's just like a unhappy marriage, man. You're staying in a marriage because of the kids, but you guys don't love each other. That's how I feel like the Lakers are with Russell Westbrook. He don't want to be with that team, and the Lakers really don't want him. He can't help them. They can't help him. So they need to let him go and let him find another team. Then you look at LeBron James. I asked this one simple question to Laker fans, and most of them said yes. I said, do you feel like LeBron James is still a top 10 player in the NBA? And the majority of them said yes. They said yes. So I said, okay, well, if you feel like he's a top 10 player, you should be able to build around him the next couple of years, correct? And since you're telling me what LeBron needs, why don't you put things around him that LeBron needs? So in order for you to do that, because this team isn't working, the only asset you have and the only real commodity you have can get some real equity back is Anthony Davis. Now the tricky part is that AD is going to have to he's going to have to rebuild his credit. He's going to have to rebuild his value by playing well and being able to stay on the court. That's the only way they're going to be able to rebuild back. Because trust me, if you guys was to ask the question, would you trade AD for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last year? I guarantee you more than 90% of y'all would have said yes, because again, his value wasn't low. He had an excuse. He said, well, he just was hurt. I don't care if you are an OKC fan or not. If you had the opportunity to trade for Anthony Davis before all this stuff was getting talked about last year, beginning of last year when the Lakers were a favorite to go to the finals, you would have been all over that trade. But now that his values went down, he got to rebuild it again. So I say you trade AD to a team I feel like could use a vet with some championship DNA who can somewhat energize him and somewhat give him a new start, for a guy in SGA who, to me, would 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 help the Lakers out for years to come because he's so young, he's so talented, he's also a gamer. He's somebody. There's certain players I feel like are just made for the big lights, and I think he's one of them. And He's not. He's not like, to me, a surefire top 10 point guard or shooting guard to the point where his value is so high you can't touch him. So I think it would be a fair trade. Their salaries are not too much different. Shai Gilgeous is making $30,000. I know he signed an extension last year. Um, he signed an extension last year for 5 years, so that might be a little bit tricky because he did mention that he'd be willing to stay in OKC because he knows the rebuilding process. But that's what he's making over the next 4 or 5 seasons with OKC. So his salary isn't too much lower than AD's. This is what AD's value is. So it's about let me see. Like this year, he's making 37 million. Shai's making 30 million. So it's about like a $7 million difference. That's what I think it is. So the money isn't too much different, and I feel like they can both help each other out. Um, Salute to my little brother. What's up, Play for Keep? But I want y'all to come in, man, and show me what y'all got to say about this trade, because I don't think it's as crazy as people try to make it out to be. Like, SGA is not going to lead you to no championship. And I got to ask you what the goal is. And nobody's knocking on the door to come to OKC. So unless you okay with just possibly being a playoff team over the next few years, then I mean, what's your end goal? What's your end goal? Mine is to keep the Lakers relevant, and OKC's goal should be, to if you got a chance to get to deep playoff runs, then do it. Let me go through some of these comments. Um, I know AD, but I know AD injury prone, but what's the Lakers training staff doing to kind of limit his chance again? That's the thing, Bubba. That's a good question. But the thing is, it's not just been with the Lakers; it's been his entire career. This is on AD. This ain't on the training staff. It's on him. Um, this is on him in his off-season training. He's not doing what he's supposed to do in the offseason. To be able to be injury prone, like I said, you have to move around and do things. People think you sitting around and resting is going to keep you from being. No, you have to actually get out there and play actual scrimmage, full court basketball. You have to actually get the kinks out. You have to actually lift real weights to keep your body in good condition. And that's all AD needs to do. I don't know why he doesn't do it. He has LeBron James, who's like the Incredible Hulk, but he needs to actually get the kinks out of his body, man, to really, get over these little knick-knack injuries and for him to recover faster. That's all it is. Muhammad said, I think this is a good yeah, if you guys asked about this trade just a season ago, everybody would be all over this trade. So what happened? What's the difference? AD is still he still has the same skill set. He still has the same game. What's the difference? What changed? It's just his durability. And like I said, that can be worked on. There's certain things, no matter how hard SGA works, will never be able to do what Anthony Davis does. Play both ways of the ball like he does. Average 28 points and 14. Those are things that SGA will never be able to do. Most people don't even watch OKC and don't even know who he is unless if you're watching highlights. OKC has 3, maybe 4 AD pilots on that team. I don't see that. Nope. Nope. AD is a top 10 player when healthy, Bubba. Name me those guys who are on that level. They may be able to do certain things, but they're not AD caliber players. None of those guys can carry their own team. None of those guys can. Yeah, Miss Davis. That the salary basically is pretty similar. He said it's a bad move. Hey, Bubba, was it a bad move to say Reggie Jackson was better? It should be starting over John Wall. You still holding on to that claim? Are you ready to go ahead and just say John Wall's better? So again, I get it, man. There's times, usually people, when it comes to something like this, I'm not afraid to like make these type of claims out. Um, I'm not afraid to make these type of claims out. So I understand people may say it's crazy, but I'm just going by my basketball knowledge, man. OKC isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So my opinion is what are you building for? This guy Evan White said the Thunder would be dumb to trade SGA for AD at this point. They have a great young core that are developed the right way, and adding someone like AD, let me ask you this question, Evan. What are you guys because people keep saying that word, building and developing. What are they building towards? What do you see them being in the next 5 years, bro? Do you see the Thunder being a real championship contender? Because like I just said, if you weren't here earlier, they're gonna have to deal with the whole league is young. It's not an old league, it's a young league. So all you would be doing if you keep pat and stay with who you are, one or two things are gonna happen. Either you're gonna actually have to develop at a dramatic rate. I'm talking about their core guys like Josh Giddey, like SGA, like Lou Dort, like Chet Holmgren, who's injury prone himself. Those guys have to develop at leaps and bounds to just compete up against the young core against teams like the New Orleans Pelicans, the Dallas Mavericks, the Phoenix Suns, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Those teams right there are going to be around for at least the next 5 seasons. So, and all of them have better all-star players than SGA. SGA hasn't even been on an all-star team. That's how deep the West is. And I like SGA because he came from our team, the Clippers. But I just don't understand what the real goal is for the Thunder. And nobody's knocking down the door to go to OKC. So you're going to have to get at some point, you're going to have to get some type of real veteran or some type of guy in his prime to get over the hump. I mean, you say AD could ruin the chemistry. I mean, maybe, but maybe not. My thing is, you're depending on SGA to lead you to a championship or lead you deep into the playoffs. And at this point, with OKC being a tanking team, if they were going to show any promise by now, they would have shown it where they can be a competitive team. But the West is just so deep, man. Even if you a solid team, even if you have a good team or somewhat got some, you still might not make the playoffs. So you expect them just to jump up over those teams I just named who are going to be around for 5 years or plus? I don't see that. The Lakers will have to get rid of their future to trade Westbrook. Lakers have to get rid of their future to trade Westbrook. All the Lakers have to do is to wait, send Westbrook home. But Jeannie doesn't want to do that because she doesn't want to give up $43 million. Right? They don't want to give that. The problem with the Lakers, they don't have no real. You got a woman in Jeannie Buss who is having to have a bunch of people in her ear. They don't have anybody to make a real decision in that organization. They don't have any real leadership. Rob Pelinka, I mean, again, like I'm not gonna, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna put it on him because he's just doing what he can work with. So all I'm gonna say is this: the Lakers need to make some type of move because you trading for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner is not gonna put you in a position to win a championship, bro. You're not gonna win a championship in that position. You're not going to be competitive. What's the point of giving up your 2 picks? And then you're going to be in a bigger hole than what you were previous. The Thunder just handled the Clippers 2 times. Yeah, we'll get who was missing on the court, though, Bubba? Missing Kawhi Leonard. You're missing Marcus Morris. Paul George is coming from L.A. from being sick. But there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, they ain't beating them in no series. They're not beating them in no series. So again, nobody's answered my question. Any OKC fan or any person who's against this move, no one's answered my question. Where's OKC going in the next 5 seasons? What do you expect them to build towards? And if it's not to a championship or to anything of that nature, then what is the point of having? I mean, actually, no, I won't say that. My thing is, again, if you have an opportunity to possibly get a player who's of AD's caliber, who's top 10 when he is healthy, why wouldn't you revisit that? And nobody's answered this. Would you have said no to this trade early last season? Would you have said no to AD versus SGA? I just want somebody to answer that question. Continue to hit the like button. I appreciate y'all coming in, man. Appreciate y'all for real. Appreciate y'all coming in. Davis doesn't make teams better. Andres, how could you say that when he just helped get LeBron a championship? He just got LeBron a championship in 2020. People say LeBron got him. They didn't get a championship because they got a championship with AD dominating. No, Davis wasn't a Robin. Davis was a Batman in that bubble. Go back and check. He led all the categories in that bubble, and that's why I kept going back and saying they need to stop trying to play through LeBron and need to play through Anthony Davis. Because when they try to play through LeBron, they're not able to win games. Even this season, if you go back and watch the games this season, when they were playing through Anthony Davis against Golden State, the game was close. When they were playing through Anthony Davis against the Portland Trailblazers, the game was close. When they were playing through Anthony Davis, even against the Nuggets, the game was respectable at halftime. It was tied. It wasn't until LeBron James started shooting them sidestep threes, turn the ball over, overshooting shots is when the Lakers start to go down, bro. That's when the Lakers start to flummox. In the bubble, it was Anthony Davis who was the dominant force. They played through him. That's why I said the Lakers should be trying to build around AD. But the problem with AD is his durability. If I'm trading AD, I want to receive 2 or 3 players in return because, like you said, AD is a top 10 player when healthy. Well, okay. But again, this is why I say, but this what goes back to value and credit. Yes, AD is a top 10 player, but in people's minds, and this is what goes back to what I say, how it can change very quick. Right now, he doesn't have that leverage because people have seen how unreliable he is on his body. So you can't ask for 2 or 3 players in return. You have to you can't be a beggar and a chooser at the same time. Because at this point, you have to, if you trade, okay, as long as if they made this trade SGA for AD, if SGA goes to the Lakers, bro, you get off that contract and you waive Russell Westbrook. SGA will be a person, I think, with this team, this young team, I think he would be able to actually move this team up the ladder. The Lakers need a fresh start at this point. What I'm saying, they have to, if they don't get off of these, if they don't get off of AD, if they don't get off of LeBron, if they don't get off Russell Westbrook, they're in terms of being a laughing stock over the next 5 seasons because you've already traded away most of your pieces. You trade away all your picks except for 2, so you don't really have much leverage going on from here on out. They have the picks the next 5 years to determine who are going to be the difference maker on both sides. They are building through the draft, and most OKC fans are patient. Okay, that's fine. Expectations come with trading someone like AD, and the Thunder are not one piece away to make that trade, but they are trending into the. They are, Evan, but they're trending in a very slow pace. And yeah, I get OKC is a patient organization, but again, what are they building towards? Are they just building towards to just be a respectful team? Are they building towards a championship? What are they building towards? They're going to have to get a real star in there at some point. And SGA is not the guy who's going to lead you to a championship. That's just not going to happen. They don't have that type of they don't have that type of team, bro. So yeah. Yes, hit like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Appreciate you, Miss Davis. But yeah, man, I don't think this trade I don't think this trade is a crazy trade. I don't think it's a crazy trade at all. Value is all, it can be built by how you play, and it can be built actually, within the same season. If Anthony Davis goes out there this season and averages 28 and 14 and somehow he gets the Lakers to the playoffs, watch how the conversations change when I ask a question like this, we could trade AD for SGA. Because AD is still in his prime. He's 29 years old, man. He's not He's not 35, 30. He's 29, so he has a legit. If he gets supposed to be, he has a legit five. He has a legit 5 to 7 years of playing high level basketball if he's able to get over this injury thing. You know what I'm saying? He said OKC fans, they're patient. Yeah, I'm not denying. I respect what y'all doing. Don't get it twisted. I respect what OKC's doing. Um, but I just don't think. I mean, I just want to say what the point is. What are y'all building to? If Russell Westbrook and KD couldn't get y'all a championship in their prime, bro, I'm not. I just don't see how SGA is able to do that. It's not a crazy trade, but Laker fans want big name players, and Shai doesn't fit that. Bro, Shai, the only reason he's not fitting that criteria is because the Thunder are trash. They suck. They're not a good team. You got. That's why I say the Shai needs a team like the Lakers to get him in that type of talk. You guys understand when it comes to basketball, bro, it's all about marketing. There's players in the league who are as good as the people being marketed, but they're not being talked about. That's what I say. Like, okay, I was watching the Memphis Grizzlies against the Sacramento Kings, right? Everybody's talking about Ja Morant, Ja Morant, Ja Morant, Ja Morant. Now, is Ja Morant a top 5 point guard? Yes. Is Ja Morant exciting to watch? Yes. But there's other players in the league who do the exact same thing Ja would do, but don't have the team that he has and don't have the coaching that he has. So the marketability for those players are not as high. De'Aaron Fox is a person that does exactly what Ja Morant can do. He's faster than Ja with the ball in his hands. He's just as explosive and he has a better jump shot. And he's just as crafty with the ball. But he's on the Sacramento Kings rotten with a coach in Mike Brown who's not known as a good coach. So he's not in a position to really win. So again, getting to my point, it's all about marketability. So because Shai, you wouldn't know if Shai fits the criteria because you ain't seen him with a big team yet. You ain't seen him with a Laker. You ain't seen him with the Bulls. You ain't seen him with New York. You ain't seen him with, a team that actually gets real TV time. But I'm going by his game, man. Shai's a 6'6" shooting guard who's very smooth, who can play both ways of the ball, and he's 24 years old and he's under the radar. But he's a guy who I feel can really help the Lakers. I think this would be a trade beneficial for both sides. I really do. I really do. Ice trade. I'm not paying attention to you, bro. I mean, if you can keep talking in the comments, I ain't worried about you. Uh, Evan White, OKC was by and large ISO ball with Katie and Russ. I think they're trying to build Golden State type of offense in that time and trust. Yeah, that's true, bro. But again, what are y'all building towards? What I don't know if you're an OKC fan, but what are y'all building towards? What are they building? Are they building towards a championship team or not? And if you're not, and Sam Presti, I know is a pretty, solid, GM, I think he wants to win. Am I right? Am I wrong? I think he wants to win. So if he wants to win, then he would need to make a move that's going to get a guy who can move the needle. Again, AD when healthy is a top 10 player. Top 10, 15 player when healthy. SGA is healthy and he's not even a top 20 player. You know what I'm saying? What's good, Tuning Sports? That's all I wanted to come in here, man, and talk about y'all, man, because I don't think it's a crazy idea. People may say, "Oh, you're out of your mind" and all this stuff, man. But I don't think it's as crazy as people making it out to be. Only reason people making it crazier than what it needs to be is because, this is all fresh and people are going after AD because he's hurt and all this stuff. But I don't think it's as crazy a trade people making it out to be. You know what I mean? So, um, we'll be back on tomorrow for LA Clipper talk. I got a lot to talk about with the Clippers, man. A lot of stuff that I seen this week where they need to talk about and get to the bottom of, and but also some good things, and also be some things we want to clear up. You know what I'm saying? With the Kawhi situation, with John Wall not starting yet. Why is he not starting? I got some information about that. Why he hasn't been starting and playing heavy minutes. Um, you know what I'm saying? The rest of the team, how Visca Zubac's been looking, bro. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about tomorrow about the Clippers, man. We'll be back on tomorrow morning. I think about 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. But yeah, so like everyone in the NBA should be doing their ability to compete for rings as consistent as they can. You need a young core developed for that to happen. Okay, so y'all trying to build for rings. Okay, I got you, bro. Yes, you need a core, but again, like I just said, most of these teams are already young, around the same. So if they can't beat that, let me put it like this: if they can't beat Dallas now, they're gonna have trouble for the next few years because you got Luka Doncic there, who's gonna always have a chance to be in the playoffs because he's a top 5 to 7 player in the league. You got Memphis with Ja Morant, and they built their young core. Desmond Bane's looking like an all-star right now. You got Minnesota with a young Anthony Edwards and an all-star in Karl Anthony Towns. With that core with D'Angelo Russell. You gotta deal with the Phoenix Suns, even though they've had their issues. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna end up getting rid of Chris Paul and letting Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton rock out. And then you still got Mikal Bridges on that team. They have a young team over there in Phoenix. Quiet is kept, right? They got a young team over there. Um, so that's what you're gonna have to deal with, man, over there in the West. And don't forget the Nuggets. The Nuggets too. They got Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray is gonna be better next season. Like, bro, it's so much competition out west. You think you just gonna build a team up to a point where they're gonna be able to really compete with these same teams around the same age, bro? That's a high mountain to climb. That's a high mountain to climb. What do you think about Bruce Brown, KCC, bro? The Nuggets again. They're gonna be a top 5 seed this year. They're going to be a top 4 or 5 seed. That's what I'm saying. That's what they're going to have to deal with. Yes, I see people going to Clippers. Yeah, rightfully so too in sports. And that's the difference between me and a lot of these other people, man. I give my team credit when they deserve credit, but I also give them blame when they deserve blame. And right now, they're not playing up to par. And I'm gonna get on them. Y'all gonna see tomorrow. I'm gonna get on them tomorrow, man. But let me get up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all coming through. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If y'all have not subscribed to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, you can do so at this point. Hit the notification bell, get all the video updates, as well as donate to the Cash App. You guys can donate through the chat, man. I appreciate y'all coming through for the situation. Um, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, but until next time, respectfully say, pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull up. Peace. Out of here like swimwear.